So it's not like this is a gradual rise here. We're going up the curve where everything does this. We can already start to feel that it's happening so fast. It's like, well, where's it going to be in another 2 years' time? And then another 2 years' time? It's beyond our comprehension. Well, it's the best performing asset in all human history. Since 2012, it's up 64 million% since I started looking at it. Now, I didn't unfortunately keep my original investment all the way through, but I know some people who did. I bought it and sold it, but have held on for a very long time. And all of my net worth is basically in this. In my liquid net worth is in crypto. So it goes up massively fast. On average, about 145% a year.
Raoul says we're entering a new era powered by AI, robotics, and crypto. Traditional systems can't keep up as money loses value and technology reshapes how wealth is created. He believes by 2030, productivity will surge, but most of the rewards will go to those who understand and invest in this new digital economy. Powell warns that owning assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum isn't speculation anymore, it's survival in a world where money is being rapidly devalued.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
Thanks, and enjoy the video.
So everything going to zero, there's two forces that really I'm focused on. One is, you alluded to earlier, and we can go into it in more detail in a bit, which is the fact that the system of money that we know is being debased, which means they're printing money. And why are they doing that? They're doing that to pay the debts that we've accumulated over the years as nations, not only the United States, but all over the world. And that's driven by this aging population that's been happening. So money essentially keeps falling in value. And people realize that by the fact that their wages actually don't go up, but the cost of things goes up. And I'm not talking about food and stuff. That kind of inflation is more cyclical. What I'm talking about is the important things for young people is like, can I buy a house? So young people start thinking, why can't I buy a house? Why do houses still go up? And I'm working really hard and I'm working 2 or 3 different jobs. That's because optically they're devaluing the value of the currency and it makes these assets expensive, but their wages don't go up in the same way. So that's one thing. The value of the currency goes to zero over time. So it's not an instant collapse. It's a slow thing that just makes life harder for everybody. The second thing is that most economic value is based on 2 things, either knowledge or labor. You either physically do things or you mentally do things. The value of those 2 things over time is going to zero because of the rise of AI and robots. What are we? We're, the physical manifestation of intelligence, and we can do things with our physical bodies. So as you look out to the future, the rise of robots with AI brains, whether it's a car, self-driving car is just a robot with an AI brain, a drone can be a robot with an AI brain, or a humanoid robot with an AI brain. And our whole economic system has been built on either physical labor, you build things, do things, service things, clean things, or you're getting paid to, whether you're a clerk in an insurance company or whether you're a lawyer, you're being paid for your knowledge and your intelligence. Now, as this revolution in AI accelerates, the cost of compute keeps going down, but intelligence keeps rising of these models. Right now, the frontier models are probably having an IQ similar to like a person with an IQ of 150. So that's extremely smart, but it's doubling every year. So by next year, it's an IQ of 300, let's say. Well, that's smarter than any human ever. And then it doubles again, and it doubles again. And all it's taking is more energy and more compute. There's this flywheel that keeps driving this. And so there's a manned scramble to lower the cost of energy, whether it's via solar, nuclear, whatever. That drives more compute. There's a mad scramble to make computing more efficient and faster. And that drives all of this intelligence flywheel further. On the robotics side, we've only really started that journey. Yes, we've got self-driving cars. So, self-driving cars, let's think of a Tesla. At scale, they've got cameras that are learning, like a human, how to navigate the world around them. So it's not a pre-programmed thing. It kind of uses a map, like we would, and then looks at the environment around it and says, well, if that car pulls out, then this is what normally happens, etc., exactly as we learn. These are these kind of visual neural networks. So then you've got this thing that same brain can be put into the humanoid robot, and that over time is getting cheaper in compute costs, even though people are spending so much on data centers because there's more and more compute going on. And then the robotics at scale, I mean, there's already humanoid robots in China, and they're like 15 grand. And yes, they don't have the intelligence of what Tesla are trying to do and what others are trying to do. But eventually, you'll have if you think about it, let's say a 15 grand robot with above human intelligence. So if you think of employing somebody, they cost you what? The average salary in the United States, like 48 grand a year or whatever. Okay, so for one-off cost plus a bit of electricity, you can get something that will work 24/7, never has a sick day or anything else. Okay, that's what role do we play? We'll come on to what role we play in society and economics later, but that's the scale of what is happening, and it's happening at an exponential rate. So it's not like this is a gradual rise here. We're going up the curve where everything does this. We can already start to feel that it's happening so fast, you can't comprehend it. When you're on Twitter and you see these kind of models where you can just put in a couple of words and make almost a movie out of it. Right? 2 years ago, ChatGPT was barely started, and now we're at this. It's like, well, where's it going to be in another 2 years' time? And then another 2 years' time? It's beyond our comprehension.
You've said in the past that we only have 5 years left to prepare before the world changes forever. If someone's watching this right now and they do nothing, what does their life look like in 2030?
So, firstly, we've got that first big trend, which is the debasement of currency. So if you don't do anything about your life, you carry on, you do your job, you don't make investments, you'll never be able to afford that house or invest in other assets. What is an asset? You hear this, people talk about, oh yeah, you want to buy assets. And people use that word. An asset is just a way of locking up savings now to use it for consumption later. It's like deferred consumption. And you should get paid an excess return for locking your money away. Problem is, I mean, that's how everybody's parents got wealthy. They bought houses for nothing. They put money in the stock market when it was really cheap. And at the end of it, they've got money. But young people now don't have that. There's no choice for them. They can't afford any of this stuff. So that mega trend of that debasement of currency means that you end up doing one job, two jobs, three jobs. And we're seeing that with everybody. I mean, I alone do 3 jobs. Everybody does this now. That only gets worse. And the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. The rich own assets. Regular working people don't. And they don't think about it and they don't really understand it. And they think, well, I can't. Because that's for people who have money. That's for people who know a broker on Wall Street, or that's the people who have an investment advisor. But it's not true. There's a revolution going on in stuff like crypto that makes the big difference.
Raoul Pal believes we're entering an age defined by AI, robotics, and crypto, a shift that's transforming how wealth and power are created. As inflation erodes the value of money, traditional systems are falling behind, and technology is taking control of productivity and value creation. By 2030, Pal predicts that most of the gains will flow to those who understand digital assets and exponential technologies. He argues that crypto isn't just an investment anymore, it's a necessity for survival in a rapidly changing financial world.
So what happens at 2030? Well, we've already been talking about intelligence going exponential. So it starts to do weird things to the job market. We know that. Everyone's talking about that. But it actually does really weird things to the economic machine. So economy, the trend rate of growth of an economy, how the United States grows or whichever country, is basically this formula, which is population growth, more people, means a bigger economy, how productive they are, what output do they do when they work, and then debt growth, which is a way of kind of covering up the cracks, where you just put debt and things grow, but that has to be paid back in the end, and we kind of hit that in 2008 in the financial crisis, and the whole economy is based on servicing the debts that we accumulated ever since then. After 2030, if you think about it, what I've described with the AI and the robots is infinite humans. That's what we're building here, is infinite humans that can come into the global economy. Okay, great. economic growth picks up. But who gets paid for that growth? Who gets paid? Is it the robot companies? But it's not us. So then what do? Get a universal basic income? Maybe, but the government haven't got any money. So how are they going to pay that without debasing more currency? Okay, that's pretty fucked. So then you've got to think about, okay, if these kind of forces are at play, then what also happens when you put superintelligence into things like financial markets? Am I going to be a better investor than something with an IQ of 600? No. Can I operate faster? No. So what is a financial market at that point? How does the economic system work? The AI has a system of money. They're already trying to put AI and crypto together because an AI still needs to be paid for it as an AI agent. Like, agents are really like Fiverr, a website where you can choose somebody to do a specialized task. So an agent still needs to get paid like somebody on Fiverr does because they've got, rent and they need to eat food and live their lives. But the AI needs, go back to the same thing, compute and energy. So it's going to get paid. And some of them will generally operate at a profit, so they'll bear profit margin. But their agents are dealing with agents. They're subcontracting out work to each other. And so there'll be a system of money between them, which will likely via crypto rails is the only way of paying each other fast enough. So they're getting the economic pie. How does that work? If the agents are making the pie, people have been talking about the fact that single people can build billion-dollar businesses using AI. One person. So the whole economic system gets weird. It gets weird that it starts growing at an accelerated rate. The value doesn't accrue to us. Our savings have been debased, so they're basically worthless. And so the uncertainty becomes massive. My job as a macro investor, as a macro guy, I've, for my whole career of 30 years, have invested in big picture trends in economies and markets, looking for, looking into the future and saying, where's the world going to go? And creating the linkages and betting on that. And here we've got to the first place ever for me, where I get to some date like 2030, could be 2032, I don't know, where I have no idea. And so if I've no idea, and I'm considered an expert in doing this, and you listen to the AI people, they don't really know. Nobody really knows. The governments have no idea what's happening. I'm thinking, okay, well, if I'm right, we've got about 5 years to sort our shit out. And so that means if I'm trying to think, how do I get through this massive change? This is going to be the biggest change to human civilization in its history, because we were always the top of the tree, and now we're not. We're the next rung down. And then eventually there'll be artificial superintelligence, which will mean that the regular AI will be the next rung down, will be the third rung down. So if that's the case, the easiest way to get through it is to try and make as much money as possible now, so you're buffered from it. If you can observe it from a beach in the Cayman Islands drinking a pina colada, it's better than being disrupted in everything that you do.
How do you your life for the next 5 years?
So I think almost everybody knowing this understands why I use that kind of mimetic language of how to your future, because everyone feels like their future's been when they looked at their parents, they were buying houses in their 20s. If I go back to when I bought my first house or apartment, I was working in investment banking in London. I was like 25. I wasn't earning a massive salary, but I was in a high-paid industry. Okay, fine. But I bought an apartment. It was 3.5 times my income. The same apartment in London for the same investment banking employees, 25 years old, 10 times, 12 times. So even the deposit now is more than I paid for the house. I mean, that's how we are, and it's only getting worse. You see, as we keep debasing the currency by 8% a year, these assets naturally just go up 8% because, again, it's the optics of the denominator, the value of money falling, so it buys less. So that goes up, and then we got normal inflation. Just, go to the bloody supermarket or a restaurant in the United States. It's insanity how expensive it is now. But wages, well, they go up about 3% a year. Maybe if you're really lucky, 5% a year. But still, you kind of feel like you're on the hamster wheel and you just don't get anywhere. And that's what we've got to solve for people. Because if you don't break out of this, you're trapped. And it's a huge trap. and it's not going to change.
What do those steps look like?
There's weird times when something happens and people don't realize it at first, but it's a systemically gigantic thing. And this was cryptocurrency. So now people think, well, Bitcoin's at 100 grand, or 120 grand. What can I do? I can't afford it. No, that's not the point. You can buy 10 cents of it. It still goes up more than any asset. Well, it's the best performing asset in all human history. Since 2012, it's up 64 million % since I started looking at it. Now, I didn't, unfortunately, keep my original investment all the way through, but I know some people who did. I bought it and sold it, but have held on for a very long time, and all of my net worth is basically in this. In my liquid net worth is in crypto. So it goes up massively fast, on average about 145% a year. We're all told to put our money in a 401k, and they put it in the S&P 500, and it goes up 12% a year. So if 8% of it is currency debasement and there's 3% inflation, you're actually not making money by investing in the S&P 500. But that's what you're told to do by the system.
Raoul concludes that the world is entering a transformative era where AI, robotics, and blockchain will redefine how economies function and who controls wealth. As fiat currencies lose value and automation accelerates, digital assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum are becoming essential tools for financial survival and growth. By 2030, Pal expects productivity to soar, but ownership and opportunity will belong to those who understand this shift early. He believes embracing crypto and exponential technologies is key to staying ahead of the curve. Do you think AI and crypto will reshape the global economy faster than expected? And are you preparing for this digital transformation?